Welcome to Containerized Conversations, where we try to containerize our conversation to less than 5 minutes. I'm your co-host, Jesse Cafarelli, and joining me is your second co-host, Josh Warhurst. Josh, how are you doing?
Hey Jesse, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Today's a nice day. It's a nice happy Wednesday, hump day.
It is, and today is very exciting. Do you know why?
It's the first time we're doing this.
It's our first episode.
I don't think this is actually going to become the first episode. I
I
think
mean, it might, though. It
who knows?
depends on how gold it is, really.
We're going to look at this a day later when you get drunk and you're like, that was the best idea.
Honestly, it might be better if we get drunk while we're doing this.
I mean, I have my Clyde's blackout.
See, that's what I'm missing.
Yeah,
I really am.
I'm already topsy-turvy, so.
Well, let's kick off this episode, all right?
Sure.
Now, as it's our first episode, and it's our grand journey into the seas of podcasting, it would probably be great if we told our audience what this show is about. And honestly, for me, as I've told you before, it's kind of selfish. I just want to talk. I want to talk about tech. I want to talk about the scars that I've gained through my life, all of the problems, all of the greatness that we've gone through, and share those stories, check out new tech, and kind of talk about it. How would you implement it? How would you do it? How would you architect it? How do you handle teams that are pains? How do you navigate life as a software developer, as an operations engineer, as an automation engineer? All facets of life, right?
Yeah, and I feel like one of the things that makes tech and this whole space interesting is that it is constantly changing. Like,
so fast.
You have to talk to somebody about it because what was true a month ago isn't true now.
Exactly.
Right? You like 2 years ago, AI was not part of the conversation unless you were part of some hipster collective. Right?
Exactly.
And now, it's all anybody will talk about. But it's not the end. There's tomorrow. There's a week later. It's all going to change.
And not only that, but that is exactly what I'm hoping with this podcast, right? Not only did I need a co-host and someone to bounce ideas off of, because honestly, if it was just me talking, I'm not going to get any new ideas.
I'm actually just a random person off the street. Like, we don't know each other.
You're actually my whiteboard. You're bouncing ideas off of you, right? But no, and not only that, but I want us to bring in people. I want to interview people. I want to talk about this stuff because I want to get different perspectives. Because we all have so many different perspectives. Perfect example. Josh, tell me, what is DevOps?
Oh gosh, what is DevOps? What is DevOps?
What is DevOps?
It's marrying ops and dev. It's making the dev aware of the ops, and it's making the ops aware of the dev, and making sure that they're all...
Okay, now let's drop the Webster dictionary, and I need you to tell me, what is it? Like, the job function. What do you do every day?
It's not even
from your mind.
It's not even a job function. I think it's almost an ideology. It's how do we think about our technology reaching the field? It's, the problem where DevOps comes from, those words, dev and ops, that's part of the origin story, right? Dev is a separate thing for a lot of people. I want to make my little app. I want to be the next creator. But how that app works in the field, who knows, right? That's up to some other operations team. And the operations team is thinking, oh man, I was just hired to deal with all this app stuff that somebody made over there in the ether. And, I'm bothered by it every day. I'm on call. I'm getting calls for this crazy new issue that happened today, and I can't do anything about it. And somewhere along the lines, people came around and said, both of these worlds have a problem. And if you just kind of mashed them together in some way, you can solve it. But the details of how you actually solve that problem is an ongoing story.
And there it is. You just laid out the blueprint of our podcast. And I think it's really important, something that you almost touched upon just a little bit is that DevOps isn't a role. It's not someone is DevOps. And I think that's the big mistake a lot of times that companies almost do is they create a role that is DevOps. But in reality, everyone in the organization is a DevOps engineer or should be, right? And, honestly, I actually think the word DevOps is starting to become like a taboo word too. And in reality, it's just a full stack engineer. It's someone who worries more than just about their current job function. You touched upon it. When I'm developing this code, how is that going to actually work in production? I might be a developer, but me thinking about that, I just became a DevOps engineer, right? Or as an operations guy, let's say I'm doing an update to this one server. Now I have 200 other servers to do this update to. How do I actually make that scale, make it easier, make it so I don't have to do this 24/7? I'm now a DevOps engineer. As a manager, I'm trying to figure out, how do I break down these slow processes? Why is my team taking so long to get their code from development to production?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a DevOps engineer. Even as a manager, me thinking about those types of metrics, all of a sudden turns me into a DevOps engineer.
And I think this is like a bigger conversation too, and one that obviously that's why we are continuing this thing, right? Is how that gets implemented in organizations. Because there are some people that say, hey, we hired a guy,
yeah,
and now we're done.
Yeah.
And what you really want is, no, the organization has to buy in, right? Like the whole organization. It can't be a group either, right? The organizations that have been successful with DevOps practices is not because they hired the one genius DevOps guy who fixed it.
Yeah.
It's because they made a tide shift, a generational change, something that was so formative, right?
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but you're touching upon another part of this podcast that I can't wait for us to give to our audience. And that is, how do you navigate the complexities of, these relationships at work? You're trying to push something new, you're going to be rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah.
How do you handle those difficult relationships? And how do you navigate those? And part of these podcasts, part of these episodes that I can't wait we touch upon, is things like the one book I love to talk about all the time, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I bring it up so much, but that's one of the books that actually helped me figure out not only the tech portion is just such a small part of DevOps, right?
Yes.
But the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People brought me out of that shell of just tech and actually figure out, how do you deal with difficult situations while you're at work and actually try to move forward and make the company more successful through those hard problems. And that's it right there. And this is our podcast. And I think it's hilarious because we started this saying our first episode was going to be 5 minutes long, and we're already 4 minutes over it.
Yeah.
So we failed. But I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it shows,
we'll edit this down. We'll edit this down to a solid 7 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Well,
we'll get rid of the ums, the buts,
Yeah, exactly. And so this is the point where I'd say a quick summarization. Our DevOps podcast is this. It's just us talking. Sometimes we'll go deep into the tech. We'll talk about how you should set up your configuration deployments and how not to centralize them into one repository that deploys to all of your environments all at once in one commit.
Unless that's what your organization needs.
Unless you can move fast like that, yeah. And we'll also talk about, managing. We'll talk about managing relationships. We'll talk about managing expectations. We'll figure out, how do you actually transform an organization? To end this podcast, I'm your co-host, Jesse Cafarelli.
And I'm Josh Warhurst.
And that was our containerized conversation.
Wow, that was good.